You ever diligently work at stretching a muscle that's tight so you can get better flexibility? And then finally, success. You got a little bit more range of motion. You go to bed, you wake up the next morning and it's tight all over again. Pretty frustrating, right? Well, there's actually a really good reason why this happens. I'm Coach Jamie Dreyer from Overhaul Training, and in this video I'm going to show you why stretching alone doesn't always cut it. And more importantly, I'm going to show you what you can do about it. You see, as annoying as it may be when your body goes ahead and tightens back up on you again, it's actually a brilliant protective mechanism. Let me give you an example. Let's say you throw things either for fun or professionally. It could be softballs, footballs, rotten tomatoes, punches, doesn't really matter. But you know that when you wind up to throw something, if you're really stiff and tight and you can't get a good wind up, then it's going to kind of be a little, not a whole lot of power behind it, right? But if you've got great mobility and you can really get back there and load up before you go ahead and chuck whatever it is that you're going to chuck, you're going to get a lot more power behind it, right? Common sense. So let's imagine you're really jacked up and your biceps, triceps, and your chest are all pretty tight. Now you go ahead and do a whole bunch of stretching on your triceps so you can bend the arm more to get loaded up. But then you also stretch the pec, so when you go to take it back, you can open up even farther. And let's also then say your biceps were tight and you weren't able to get full extension when you launched the softball. So now we go ahead and stretch out that bicep and boom, you've got full range of motion. Sounds great, right? Well, don't get ahead of yourself because here's what could happen. Let's say you've got this new range of motion in the joints, but you never actually strengthened it. You just kind of stretched it out. And your nervous system never learned how to control the bones in the joint and to stabilize them so they don't get injured. And at the same time, you never developed the muscular strength to control and slow down those bones as you're chucking them. Because you're not just chucking a ball, you're chucking your arm. And something has to slow that arm down. So now here you are, you got all this range of motion without the strength and the coordination, but you launch the sucker, and now, oh, my shoulder. You've got all this extra range, but now you're stretching out the rotator cuff because the rotator cuff is what has to keep it in the joint. Otherwise, your arm is going flying with the ball. And the other part is, as you hit that extension in the elbow at the final range, if you've never developed the control to decelerate your forearm, then it's going to just keep going and you're going to hyperextend your elbow and injure it. So your body's actually really, really smart for getting you back down and tightening, kind of putting you back into the range in which you can safely control. So what do you do about this? Well, if strength and coordination is what's missing, then let's add some strength and coordination. The first thing you could do is take your static stretches where you're just simply holding a stretch and turn it into a PNF stretch, which means you're actually contracting at the end range. Doesn't have to move, but you contract and engage it for 3 to 5 seconds and then relax a little bit, go a little farther into the stretch. What you're doing there is you're actually contracting the muscles and telling the nervous system, we've got some strength here, it's starting to wake up. And then you can start doing other exercises at a lower velocity. You could do your movement slower with less weight so you can develop the control there in a safe environment. The same thing goes for squats, right? So the example that I gave was about controlling this when you release the load so you can decelerate things. But let's say you've got, normally you're kind of tight and you can't squat that deep, but you just stretch and stretch and stretch, and now you can drop down an extra 4 inches. And you go ahead and load your regular weight on the bar, and you think you're just going to go with your high weight and drop all the way down into this new range of motion. Well, guess what? You're going to get down there and your body's going to want to stop because it's not used to it. And it actually would be a smart thing for you to stop to take some weight off. So you got to start gradually going into that new range of motion, ideally without any weight in your warm-up. Just kind of get used to body weight, then slowly, gradually add more weight to it until you feel like your body has adapted and you can control the weight and your own body in that new range of motion. I'm Coach Jamie Dreyer with Overhaul Training, and this video has been helpful to you at all. Show me a little bit of love and hit the like button. And you know what? While you're here, you might as well go ahead and hit the subscribe button too. I'll see you soon.